Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and welcome to another NerdTube Star Trek episode review. We're here this week talking about Lower Decks Season 5, Episode 6, of Gods and Angles. I'm joined by my fellow Trekkies in arms, Cousin Cheeto, Lord Donkey, and Zam. How are you all doing this evening, clockwise?
Excrement smithers, lovely jubbly.
Better than those cubes and spheres.
Indeed. Cheeto, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just, admiring Lord Donkey's new background, man. That is...
I moved.
It's sweet.
I had to move to where there's heat.
Jealous.
I had to move to where there's heat. I'm in the basement, so there's only two vents down here. So I got Boimler up at the top, though.
That's because
Boimler.
he is numero uno in our hearts.
He wasn't the top this week. He was the bottom this week.
that he was.
I don't think he's been top much this season, to tell you the truth.
No, it's been a Mariner season, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, Mariner and Tindy.
Tindy, yeah. Our first couple of episodes.
I haven't minded a Mariner-focused season.
I think they've done a good job this season, kind of focusing on Mariner and Tindy and, like Rutherford and Boimler have kind of taken a back seat.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Kind of
how dare
spread
they?
the love around.
I think it works out.
I feel misrepresented. I think when did Star Trek get so woke?
I wore my Kirk sweater just to tell you that it's always been woke.
No. Really? Okay, so let's get started with some overall impressions of the episode, which kind of saw the Cerritos hosting peace talks between two light-based species. Cheeto, what were your overall impressions?
This episode was really good. I really enjoyed it. I really laughed genuinely laughed a couple times. I'm going to have the stupid canon argument like I do every single week. I mean, really, like spheres and cubes. Like, I want to see it in real life now. Like, these are the kind of things that I want to see in real life. But other than that, I think it was a really entertaining episode. A very predictable outcome, but I think it was pretty well done. But it was an enjoyable episode. As I said, I think the stupid gags were just on point this week again, just like last week.
Very nice. Donkey, what are your thoughts?
It definitely was predictable, especially. I mean, it pays off pretty well at the end, but I enjoyed it. We got some really good Mariner with her season 1 self, essentially. Exactly. And Boimler with the beard gets better each week. It's coming in. So, yeah, I had fun.
Excellent. And Zam?
Sorry. I did not like this episode. I wanted to. I really wanted to like this episode. I thought, yeah, this is going to be fun. These square things and these round things. And I thought, yeah, this is going to be really good fun and stuff. But I thought this episode was pretty shit. And I wanted to like this episode. I just couldn't get myself to like it. And I was getting really frustrated with it at times as well. So I thought moments it was pretty stupid in certain parts. And it just didn't work for me, unfortunately.
What
Goodbye.
might help? Oops. Oh, you put me last. What might help, Zam, is to think about it as that, that TikTok of the girl reacting to the guy putting the things into the holes, and where does this one go? The square hole. Where does the arch go? The arch hole. No, it goes in the square hole. That should have been the gag of this episode.
Listen, I'm surprised there wasn't a gag like that at the end when they were. How did they get a square peg in a round hole? I was waiting for that gag at the end of the episode.
They should have. They should have found her and added her as an ensign.
Thank you, Rusty. What's up, nerds? I know nothing about Star Trek. Just here to hang out and maybe learn something. Hopefully you'll learn to watch Lower Decks. It's one of the greatest Star Trek shows of all time. Even though I wasn't a fan of this particular episode. And Daniel Vance, this is what I've come to expect: the low hanging fruit on the tree.
Lower Decks is not a bad place to start. There's so many places to start. We should divert course and talk about where to jump on.
I disagree, Lord Donkey, because there's so much callback in Lower Decks, even in this episode, that if it'll go over your head if you're not a Star Trek fan. Which is
fine though, because Lower Decks gets you interested in Trek. You go back and watch something like TNG, and then half of the jokes from Lower Decks start to make sense, so you rewatch Lower Decks, and then it becomes funnier, so you watch another Trek show.
I also disagree, Lord Donkey. I'm sorry. I think that somebody who is not a Trek fan already would kind of get lost on this show. I'm not saying they won't enjoy it. I'm just saying there will be a lot that goes over their head, and some people might get frustrated with that and be like that's like me starting and watching the Christmas special of Doctor Who. I don't know very much about Doctor Who at all, other than the basics, and
that's okay.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I can appreciate an episode or a holiday special, but I'll probably be lost on all the references, all the callbacks, anything like that happens. So
a new season, though, you don't have to have any of that. It's the official jumping on point. But if you don't know anything about Star Trek, I recommend joining the way I started, which was the 2009 movie.
I would encourage not.
Yeah,
I mean, they're fine. They're good. They're good
at
movies. At
this point, with all the shows out there, I know we've gotten super off topic, but with all the shows that are out there now, there's so many places that you could start. Start with that movie, and that explains the basics of all Star Trek.
I mean, you're right.
Then I went and watched TNG, and I watched Voyager, and all the new ones. So it was a place that I started. So
okay, I mean, again, fair point. Yes. So,
but the reason why the humor works at most of the time, not at times, is because you know what Star Trek is, and if you don't know what Star Trek is, like these jokes, what the hell is she talking about? Well, I don't get it, and all of these sort of things. If you don't know Star Trek, I really think it's not going to be that funny. It's just going to be what the fuck is going on.
What do you mean Kirk met Zeus? I actually don't remember that. I don't think I.
Of course, I remember that.
It's one of those
episode.
Yeah, it's one of those TOS episodes where they met the Greek gods from that were supposedly the Greek gods, but they're aliens, and it's like, wow, okay, so Star Trek did it before Marvel. Got it. Okay.
There's a lot of that in TOS. Yeah.
That's the thing though. I think you need to watch some of the newer stuff before you go back to TOS.
I absolutely agree with you on that. I'm not saying watch it in order, like release order. I mean,
maybe chronological order.
Maybe. I mean, maybe the problem is that Enterprise.
We just started Enterprise, and it's been a long road.
Getting from there to here.
It's been a long.
It's just I don't know. I really don't know how to explain it to other people because I was fortunate enough. And I think a lot of us were fortunate enough to watch it how it came out. Like TOS was rerun to fucking death. 20 years after it came out, as far as I was concerned.
I hadn't seen TOS until after I had started with TNG and Next Gen. Or TNG and DS9.
TNG, yeah, fair enough.
And then I would start watching the reruns of TOS, when Star Trek got popular again. Like after TNG was coming out and DS9 started coming out, and so.
It's just really difficult for me to explain it for somebody else because I've kind of watched it in order it came out, whilst other people don't have that luxury now. If they're jumping on board late on the train. Yeah, you remember the trouble.
I think on Paramount Plus there is a Star Trek in release order. I was actually looking on Paramount the other day. They've got a Star Trek in release order. They've got an essential episodes category. They've got a timeline order. They've got it has. I think it has all the movies except for. I think it has the Kelvin movies, but I think it's at the end because technically
It took away all the original series and TNG movies.
No, they're on there. I just saw them yesterday.
Oh, they were gone for a while. I think they went to Max or something.
Yeah.
Because I had wanted to watch the new version of the first movie.
Gotcha.
See if it made it better.
Let me jump to some comments before Major Raids breaks it down for us like a break dancer on Halloween. Okay, where were you? He's saying where? Oh, okay. He said, where can I watch? Of course, Paramount Plus. Dana Vincent, Star Trek Continues did a follow-up to Who Mourns the Adonises called Pilgrim of Eternity, and starred the original actor who played Apollo. Sweet. We always like some good callbacks. And Rusty River says, I remember the Trouble with Tribbles.
Great.
Everybody remembers the Trouble with Tribbles.
Iconic episode.
Great.
It's an iconic episode, yeah.
All right,
If you've seen that episode, you got the basics.
Yeah.
Yeah. This week's episode saw, like I said, we're hosting peace talks between the photonic species. Mariner ends up volunteering to take on what, as Donkey alluded to, is a struggling ensign, and kind of offers to take her under her wing. And while Boimler continues to his efforts to be more like alternate Boimler with the beard, and befriend Dr. Tana and end up in her book club. So we've got just 2 plots this week. I would argue that the A plot got a lot more screen time and focus than the B plot, which is, considering as dense as it was, needed to happen, I would say.
A plot was the square and round aliens, yeah.
Square and round aliens and Mariner taking her under her wing, and it eventually becoming a missing persons case.
Well, yeah, because I look at that as 2 sort of like the main plot, but split into 2 things. Obviously, the aliens, the negotiations of the aliens, as well as you said, Mariner and New Girl, who just that's such a stupid episode. Really,
she had the laurels.
Oh god, just like her coming into play with a fucking Julius Caesar shit on her head, and I'm so and so from the episode with Kirk and Zeus. It's like, oh, fuck off. As soon as I saw that, I just said fuck off. You know, it's like, I'm not liking this. This is just stupid. And like the way that she's constantly just fucking up, like consistently.
Zam has something against the Greeks.
Tell me, Ginger.
Right?
Yeah, I just the point. But it's just who she is as a person. Like she's apparently like how Mariner used to be, but Mariner was more of a rebel than a fuck up. This girl was a fuck up, a constant fuck up.
She was a bit much at the beginning. Yes. Yeah, she couldn't help it. She was misunderstood.
And I just got frustrated with it, straight off the bat. So
no, you're allowed to have your opinions. So
yeah,
I mean,
and if the basic premise aggravates you, then you're definitely gonna not enjoy the episode for sure.
I thought this was. I actually liked initially seeing the square and round aliens. I thought this was going to be pretty cool, but in a way, I kind of saw what was coming regarding how it was going to be resolved, and it came a little bit later in the episode than I anticipated it to come, but it did actually end up happening, so much so that I forgot that was what I was thinking of at one particular point, because I got distracted by all the other crazy shit that was going on in this episode between the 2 factions. But they're working out. They're working out.
Well, and see that's a part of my argument with the canon thing. Is like I'm like I want to see these in real in live action. Like these guys are not canon until they're in live action. You know what I mean? Like
that's fair.
And as I said, I don't think it ruins the episode. I take these episodes for what they are. The gags, the blah, blah. But when people argue with you about whether Lower Decks is canon or not, I'm like, look, you can think it's canon and you live in that bubble, but I'm like, I don't. I think it's loose canon. I think until we see it in some other form of Star Trek media besides Lower Decks, I don't think it's like super canon. Like I don't think it's pure canon.
It would be
Where
nice
did
if
these
they
aliens
brought
come
some
from?
things
Final
in
thought.
from Lower Decks too. I hope they bring the most randomest, stupidest thing from Lower Decks into a live action show for you, Cheeto.
And if they, you know what, if they do, fair enough. If one day I tune into Strange New Worlds and they're opening negotiations with the squares and the circles, I'll be like, all right, here we are. I mean, it's
No, I want to see that fucking spider from the pilot, which they used to, which the farmers and those alien farmers were milking. They milked that spider and stuff like that. And then it was sucking on Boimler as well. Like, oh god, that was so silly. But I didn't mind it because some of that bit of silliness worked. The silliness here at times just didn't work. I wasn't liking this guest character. She didn't work for me.
I actually liked her a lot. I thought she was very endearing, and I liked the callback. I thought it was a great callback, and even they make fun of the fact that, like, I always make fun of the fact that those original TOS episodes, I respect them, but they're not that good. And I love how Lower Decks just plays with that, and they're just like, oh no, we're definitely going to talk about this, or we're definitely going to make fun of this.
It's
like,
like the future.
So nonchalant. Didn't they meet Zeus or something?
yeah, right? Like,
She's a demigod. Well, she's not really a demigod. She's an alien, which
yeah,
is
well,
what
no,
fucking
I think
four
they
is.
say Starfleet does not officially acknowledge them as being demigods or something like that.
Yeah, which is what four is in the MCU and all these contingent. They're not gods. They're fucking aliens.
Yep, that's true.
So, but yeah, regardless. Sorry, Major. I apologize. Continue.
Yeah, so like I was saying, the Mariner and Ollie get assigned a babysitting gig, basically, during the negotiations of one of the head diplomats, and it becomes a missing persons case. This over-the-top new ensign even thinks it might be a murder. Very quick to jump to that. There's a missing computer. And just, I was going to say, what do you guys think about her over-the-top nature during that scene? But I think we've hit it.
Well, I would like to add this, that the fact that Mariner and Freeman were constantly telling that ensign, don't jump to conclusions, don't jump to conclusions. And all she did was fucking jump to fucking conclusions. You would have thought she would have learned a little bit, something like that, hold her shit together. But no, that wasn't the case, and it just wasn't funny. It was just like fucking incompetent, stupid. Why is this bitch not fucking put in a cell right now? Because she's obviously a liability, or told to go back to her quarters to not deal with this particular situation because she's gonna cause more problems than she did actually. Even though she resolved everything in the end, she was the one who made it worse initially.
Well, and that's why she was in the brig at the end. I mean, like,
yeah.
I mean,
but,
no, which is fine. Which I'm fair enough. I don't get me wrong. I'm totally fine with that. I mean, but that doesn't resolve all my issues with it, regardless of that being a good thing.
I can see where you're coming from. I actually, this morning when I was brushing my teeth and looking in the mirror, I was thinking about the difference in discipline on different Starfleet ships. I'm just like, the Cerritos has an obvious, like, lower level of discipline than, say, your Enterprise. And they've alluded to the fact that, like, there's different standards in the past, but I was just thinking to myself, it's like this stark difference. It's like it's one of those things where you have to willfully suspend your disbelief to enjoy the show.
And that's what I do with the show. I have to suspend my canon belief, is what I call, is how I say it. I suspend my canon belief to enjoy the episode for what it is, not for what it brings to Trek other than comedy.
Right, because the shenanigans that happen with the Cerritos crew would never fly in actual Starfleet. They'd all be court-martialed right out.
Yep.
Here's some comments, Cheetah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mariner isn't like Ollie. Mariner liked Ollie because she reminds her of what her relationship with Boimler used to be like. Daniel Vance also says Scotty in the books went on to design a ship after his release from the Dyson sphere called the Thesis.
Dyson sphere. The Dyson.
Theses.
Visions mentioned
built
that
to
in
fight
WandaVision.
demigods. And Winslow's only hope. Hey, Winnie says hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Back to what you were saying though, Mage. I like how it was introduced, how they're talking Ransom, Mariner, and Captain Freeman in the corridor there, and they just mentioned, oh yeah, the Zeus and the demigod thing, and Ransom's like, sweet, like, and he calls back to season 1 when he was the giant head.
Oh
He
yeah,
said
that
something
was
about,
Mhm.
I forget how he said it exactly, but
I love it when the show references itself.
yeah.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to lean as much on the outside reference anymore.
Zachary Levy says, I forgot to watch the episode in the
Get out of
stream.
here,
Sorry, lol.
spoilers.
Yeah, you're going to get spoilers, mate.
No, don't stop watching.
Mentioning Ronald D. Moore in relation to alternative universes was a bit much. Right, that went over my head. Ronald D. Moore.
I missed that line.
He was a writer for Star Trek, right?
Fair
Ronald
enough.
B. Moore, or is that Ronald B. Moore? B. Moore was the VFX designer, I think. I got to look it up. One of them is a VFX. The other one is a writer for Star Trek. And they always got confused. People always got them confused because it was Ronald D. Moore, Ronald B. Moore. I don't even know if they're related, but
Okay,
we had this really funny gag that I enjoyed. I don't know about the rest of you, but the good cop, bad cop shenanigans. And like when they like gave him the bribe with the crystals and he acted like it was a drug almost.
Yeah, space crack.
Yeah, space crack. He went that kind of. So
You got that.
It's the second
man's
time
watching
they've used
it.
the power cells as space drugs.
gotta love
This
space
season.
drugs.
It's just so weird, like the interrogation scene and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I thought that
I
was
won't
hilarious. I'm
but-
sorry. Like,
no, but this person, like, they knew something, but in a way, what they knew didn't end up being the information they required because nothing came from that. There was no murder or anything along those. So what the fuck did he know? You know, like, what was his purpose? Like, what was he? Like? It was like, honestly, this is a massive loophole here. There was no murder, yet this guy was treated like some sort of suspect. He acted like he was withholding information.
Well, at the time, he was a suspect.
But he was not holding, like, but there was no murder, so why was he acting suspicious? And why did he run away?
Well, we
Like,
know-
there was nothing.
We only know there was no murder because he went and spouted off in the big meeting, and then they all started fighting. And
the part of
Yeah.
Canon complaining Cheeto will be played by Zam this week.
Fair enough.
I feel like it was just a gag, and they just used it for that. He acted like, your stereotypical suspect in a procedural, and so they needed him to play the part of that particular gag. So they had him act sus. That was just my take on it, though. But eventually Mariner figures out that Ollie is diverting them from the crime scene and is hiding her demigod powers. The attempt to help using them, though, causes to a huge escalation of the all-out shape war, where we get they combine into giant shapes and start fighting each other, damaging the ship in the process.
Nobody got killed.
They wrecked
You
the
know,
ship.
I mean,
There was no explosive decompression. Like, they're firing these holes in the cargo hold and stuff, and there's no explosive decompression anywhere.
yeah. Because I know this is supposed to be comical and stuff like that, but that level of damage would have destroyed the ship. The amount of fucking shots they were firing at each other, and if not destroyed the ship, caused severe damage. Crew members would have been killed, sucked out into space or something along those lines, or accidentally hit in the crossfire.
Well,
None of
were in
that
the
happened.
Crossfire. I mean, there were some injuries.
Were they?
Yeah, somebody got hit like right in the side. They had like a hole in their side.
Mm-hmm. And let's not forget about Boimler's ass.
Yeah, Blumler's ass.
Oh yes,
took it.
yes.
Boims took a big hit.
I just thought there'd be some. I just thought with all that was happening, I just thought there'd be some casualties. You know,
I don't disagree with you on that account. As
They
I
should
said,
have just had what's our new equivalent of red shirts? We're just.
I mean, would be gold shirts
Security
technically because
officer,
they're security,
yeah.
but I mean, red shirts are just red shirts, even if their shirts are gold.
Yeah.
It's just the term that's in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
What do we think of the huge shapes gag, the combining, and all this escalation? Other than the ridiculousness of it and it needing to have more consequences than it did, other than for a gag show.
It reminded
What do
me
we
too
think?
much of the whole Harry Potter and Voldemort and their wands connecting, and we've seen that. Like, didn't Iron Man do the same thing at one point, where their beams connected?
I mean, yeah, and Iron Man too, I think.
Done.
But
The beams.
I mean,
connected.
I was more thinking Dragon Ball, with Vegeta and Goku.
That's where my mind went with it.
please tell me, you guys have seen Terrorhawks.
Seen what?
It was the pup. It was like, I think, it was the puppet drama, like done by the people who made Thunderbirds and shit. But it was done in the 80s.
Missed that one.
Okay, it's just that there was this thing between cubes and circle things, in that as well. Like, the memory of it is quite vague, but I was getting callbacks to that, so to speak, with the cube and the round aliens. Spears and going up against each other. So that's the sort of thing I was feeling. I'm not sure. I'm sure Daniel Vance knows what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to Terrorhawks and Zelda. Remember Zelda from Terrorhawks, Daniel Vance?
I remember Zelda from Legend of Zelda.
And it's really funny because the end credits is a game of tic tac toe between the squares and the spheres, the cubes and the spheres, and the oh yeah, that was so cool back in the day. But anyway, that's the sort of vibe I was getting. And then they all combine and they join, and yeah, like can you imagine this in real life? And they're photonic as well, so they're like the same sort of beings as those creatures that talk to the Doctor in the episode of Voyager, when the Doctor pretended to be the president of Earth and all of that sort of shit. You know,
and they had to do the whole holodeck thing.
So all they had to do was call the EMH, and they'd have been fine this whole episode.
Yeah, but my point is like, do they have a planet here in our universe, or do they come from a tearing space or something like that? Like,
are you talking about
nebulas collided? They're from in our galaxy.
They're from the nebula that they were outside of.
Yeah,
fair enough. So these are the sort of things I was asking myself. Like, this is just so weird. And Cheeto says, I would love to see this this shit in live action now. Now these aliens exist here. If this is going to be canon or not, if it's not going to be canon, fair enough. But if you are going to take this seriously and these aliens are going to be part of the Star Trek lore, I want to see this shit in live action.
And I don't want to see CGI. It needs to all be practical.
And
all practical effects.
All scale models like the original Enterprise model.
Yes.
And I want to see them in the gym working out.
Yes, I want to see it too.
But they need to have round barbells and square barbells.
But they're like pumping the fucking barbell, and they got no arms. So it's just like just hovering above it. Yeah, and the squares one's got a fucking towel on it, like it's sweating. You know, like it's like, what the hell? Like,
Well, and the one
Oh,
freaked out
God.
because he's like, "Oh, you've seen me non-luminescent. Is that like
Is
you
that
naked?"
like being naked for you? Yeah, it's basically.
Like, yeah, I'm just again, I've learned to shut my brain off, and as I said, I last season a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's canon, it's canon." Oh, Boimler and Mariner were in Strange New Worlds. Yes, I know, and again, it's loose canon. So
And
Boimler and Mariner can exist in canon. I have no problem with that. I'm not saying everything in this show has to be non-canon. I'm just saying the things that are kind of a stretch of the imagination for the rational mind or even normal, I have a problem with that. You know what I mean? So and as I said, if they can work it in live action, fine, fair enough. As I said, I will accept it as canon. But until then, if it shows up in Lower Decks and it's not shown up anywhere else, I'm not exactly going to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, it's absolutely 100% canon."
that's why they make so many references
Mm-hmm.
for legitimacy,
Well, they're desperate for legitimacy, obviously.
or the concept of legitimacy. Let's put it that way.
I never got into old puppet shows like Team America, World Police, Terra Hawks Tour. Sorry, fell into that category.
Look, I'm not going to play Terrahawks. I just want to show you this quick picture. Can you see that? Look, square in the circle and the orb. So
No
that's
idea.
the vibe
Never
I was
seen anything
getting.
like that before.
And
I see why
this
that
It looks
remind you-
ridiculous.
This episode would remind you of that, but it
and
doesn't feel
if you look at the
ridiculous.
puppets, just like Thunderbirds, and this is Zelda and all of that. Yeah, and look, there it is there, the Terrahawks.
Well, excuse me,
With the cubes and the
princess.
circles, and there's a cube circle there, and all of that. And look, and this was the end credits was that with the tic tac toe. Yeah, it's just brilliant. But that's the vibe I was getting.
It's brilliant.
Okay.
It's a good.
I agree.
Nostalgically, it's brilliant.
Oh, okay.
It really
Well,
is.
then you can have that. Nostalgically, you can have that.
Yeah, because it was so good when I was watching it as a kid. But that's that's what in the thing that triggered my mind when I saw all this shit. That Terrahawks. Okay.
Donkey, any particular thoughts on the coalescing of the energy of the photonic beings and the battle that
When they
broke
became
out?
huge,
When they became
I
huge,
felt
yeah.
like they should have done more damage to the outside of the ship at that point. Like
It's barely bouncing off the shields.
inject the warp core at them or something.
Inject the warp core at him.
Yeah,
Dude,
make Shax
Shax would have
happy.
gone crazy. He would have been like, "Yes, we're injecting
You
the
get
warp
to do
core!"
it twice in this show.
They're
Listen,
barely
I will not be
being
happy until I
Shax.
see Shax in live action. I'm just saying that's another one that I'm like,
That would
I
be
want in live action.
great.
And I want Jerry. I want Jerry O'Connell to show up as Ransom in something.
Off topic, but good. I don't know the topic, but sorry, Zam. Cheetah is now my best friend. Still love the birds.
Oh,
all right, then, mate.
I got a new best friend, everybody! Woohoo!
That deserves an
man.
award.
Because in my opinion, I don't think
I'm white.
Jerry O'Connell can pull off a Ransom in live action. He might be able to do an old Ransom if they went into the future.
Well, that's why I
Ransom
was thinking, like in Picard time, like Star Trek Legacy, because then he would be much older at that point. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Lower Decks takes place only a couple years after Star Trek Nemesis, and when Voyager gets home,
No.
Nemesis, like 4 years after Nemesis or something like that. So, so Jerry O'Connell, then it would be, I think it's 20 years? 20, I think they're in 23 something. So then,
but Ransom like seems like a 30 something. He doesn't seem that old.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but
So,
Jerry
like,
O'Connell's
even-
almost 50, and so. And that's where Ransom would probably be at right around the time Picard, like Legacy, because Legacy would be probably about 15 to 17 years after Lower Decks this season.
I just don't think
look his age though.
He does.
Yeah,
Right.
No, you're right, but I think there's a particular look about Ransom that I'm not sure if Jerry O'Connell can pull it off. Like Ransom is
Put a
like
wig on him. He'll be fine.
Jerry O'Connell is more of a pretty boy, whilst Ransom is more of a rugged, good-looking guy. You know what I
what,
mean?
actually, you know who plays Homelander in The Boys? He would make a great
Anthony
ransom.
Starr.
Anthony Starr.
Anthony Starr, yeah, he'd make a good ransom with the look and everything. Like, I think he could do it.
Maybe.
He's got the must.
I'm not
He's got
seeing
the
Ransom and Jerry O'Connell.
I will agree, but still, I'm
He
just
needs
saying,
to,
like,
he needs to make some gains before he becomes Ransom.
that's true. Well, he wore.
Mhm.
I watched an episode of Late Night with Tori Tomaine or whatever her name is. When Lower Decks was coming back, they had an episode with Rutherford's voice actor, Tindy's voice act, not Tindy, Jerry O'Connell, and the voice actor for Mariner. And Jerry O'Connell was on the show with like a half shirt on, like he literally was wearing like a half top. I'm like, this guy has no shame.
If Jonathan Frakes was a lot younger, he would be Ransom. You know, like I do feel when I look at Ransom, I do feel that there's a bit of Will Riker in him. You know,
a little bit, but I still think I feel like Will Riker's got more of he's a darker featured person, whereas Ransom seems more lighter featured.
Yeah.
That's why I
he's
think
a blonde.
Anthony Starr, because he's more lighter featured.
But he's not a natural blonde, though. Just so you know, like they just give him the blonde hair.
Yeah, I mean, but
yeah.
Anyway, so Tangent Station over.
I was about to say this is the first long.
We can do
Station
a whole
entry.
episode on who we want to play the
Live
animated
action.
character.
Okay, well, as you mentioned, The
novel.
Rock returns. I would say somebody like maybe The Miz would be a good Ransom. You know what I mean? Give him a bit of stubble.
I mean, yeah, I could kind of see that. Maybe I'd have to see him in the uniform and see him.
I've always said that he would be a
What about
fantastic
John
Johnny Cage.
Cena?
He would have been a fantastic Johnny Cage if they used him in the Mortal Kombat movies. You know, The Miz. No, fuck John Cena. Yeah, so we all know that if Star Trek can get The Rock to play Ransom, that's what. No, we don't want The Rock to play Ransom. No.
Absolutely not. That'd be terrible.
The Rock has already been in Star Trek. He's canon. So
He is canon. The Rock is canon in Star Trek.
He was on Voyager.
yeah.
If The Rock comes back into Star Trek, he has to play for me a Klingon. He's ideal to play a Klingon.
I'd say bring him back as like the race that they had in Voyager. Just have him.
Bring him back as that person all this time later.
Yeah,
Wants a
was that?
rematch with Seven in Legacy. There you go.
Cena was a terrible actor. Yeah, he's alright.
I actually don't think.
I was joking.
I don't think Cena's.
I think he's better than The Rock.
I think a lot of people are better than The Rock. I don't think Hogan's better than The Rock. I don't think Austin's better than The Rock, but I do think a lot of them are.
Yeah, I mean, Rock started off as a good actor, but he's just been playing himself for so long. Dave Bautista, though, without doubt, the best.
Oh yeah, Dave Bautista really knocks it out of the park.
Yeah,
Batista. Oh, he could have been
Your daddy.
Shax.
Bane. He wanted to play Bane, but now people are saying he should play Hugo Strange.
I do. I agree. I think he should. Since he's lost all that muscle mass, I really do believe he should play.
Here's one though. Like a lot of people are suggesting that Jack Quaid should play Barry Allen, the Flash.
Yeah, I can see that.
Perfect, absolutely perfect fit.
I still want Grant Gustin though. Above all, I want Grant Gustin. I'm sorry. I love Grant Gustin as the Flash.
on the big screen.
Yep. Anyway, Mage, back to you.
Yeah, don't
What
make
are we
me
talking
pull this
about?
podcast over.
We haven't even gone to the subplot yet.
We still got the beep.
No, it's got the B plot. Yeah, we've got to get.
Oh, we finished the A plot first with that fucking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where Ollie manages to save the day with engineering, like she wants to do. She ends up getting transferred into engineering, and she gets her second chance. Like they say in the beginning, the Cerritos is kind of a ship of second chances. But she does suffer some consequences and ends up in the brig, acting like Mariner did back in the day when she would get thrown in the brig.
Vulcan salutes.
Well, they did do a good payoff with her tractor beam gun, and they obviously magnetized it into stopping the aliens from killing each other by making them small again and all of that. But that wasn't going to necessarily stop the battle. The battle was what we saw at the very, very end, two aliens who weren't featured at all in the entire fucking episode until they revealed that they had a fucking a baby together. and that baby itself was some sort of that baby. That I have to admit, the baby made me laugh. I'll be honest with you, the baby made me laugh, and then
it pooped a pyramid.
yeah, exactly as well. And the father goes, "Oh, I'm new to being a dad. I don't know what to do," and all of that. Yeah, that was a bit funny. I have to admit, because that's more real to a degree. But the baby itself, like being able to talk straight out the womb. I mean, they just started having an affair, and boom, next thing you know, they fucking already got a kid.
They're non-corporeal entity.
They
like there's
okay.
It's like Q. Like, I mean, we see Q Junior, and then the next year he's like a teenager. Here. So, I mean, they don't, they play different. They play different than we do.
This is nothing like Q. They kept mentioning Q this episode.
They're like, I want to be seen as like a Q. It's like, yeah, Qs are more.
If we don't get to see animated Q this season.
Well, we only saw him the once. I mean, in what was it, first season or second season?
Oh, did he show up? I don't remember.
Yeah, he showed up at the end of one episode, but it was, I think,
and yeah, it wasn't even a Q episode. Like, it was just it was an epilogue for the fucking episode to have Q in it and stuff.
Yeah, they really, that was one of those where they really, like, they actually promoted it with Q, and then
yeah, they should never have done that. It would have been better if they never promoted it with Q and just have that little Easter egg at the end of the episode without us expecting a Q episode in the first place.
That's why I avoid so much promotional material for this kind
Likewise.
of stuff.
Sorry, I like promotional material.
Is there still a Spock? Yes, there is. He is played by Ethan Peck. Who is the
Peck baby?
Oh my!
Peck, the grandson of the legendary Gregory
Go back
Peck.
and screenshot that one.
Ethan Peck plays Spock in Strange New Worlds. He's the fourth actor to play him.
Third, right?
Properly, like there've been like the younger Spocks and stuff like that, but I think
he's the Spocks and
Quinto
3.
It's just the 3, I think, right?
Peck.
Quinto, Peck,
and action. If you don't
Nimoy.
Count all the ones from Search for
like Star Trek 3, like the kid Spocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're not counting those.
Yeah,
sorry, we're not counting those.
So how did everybody else feel about the resolution of the A-plot with the reveal that the kids are actually in love, they've been missing and not murdered?
Predictable.
Where have we seen,
very predictable.
Seen this Mary...
Especially when they said the second person was missing. What was it, Spherina or whatever? When I heard that, I said, "Oh, they're off blinking." As I said, they're trying to figure out how to get that square peg in a round hole.
They're doing a Romeo and Juliet in space minus all the dying.
Yeah.
We saw that with what's his name? That rogue captain. We saw him in Prodigy.
Acuna,
yeah. Like there was an episode based in TNG where he was supposed to apparently have impregnated with one particular faction's daughter, but it really was the son of the other faction, and those two factions have been at war, but the son and daughter love each other, and their love was going to resolve everything. And we've seen that so many times. Two groups going at each other, but because one person from each side happened to like each other, all of a sudden that just ends the fucking war. It's just it's just so bizarre when you think about it.
Doesn't work like that in real.
You think like Israel and Palestinians, like they've actually been relationships between them, those two groups of people. They're still fucking going at each other. Like, it just doesn't work. It's so fictional. It's unbelievable.
How do we feel about the predictability of seeing the shocks happen from the very beginning when Ollie handles anything electronic?
Honestly, that I didn't notice. I didn't really notice.
Yeah,
that.
I didn't pay too much attention to that, so I was.
I thought she was an incompetent, dumb bitch. So that's how I looked at it.
God.
No.
But it makes sense now. Yeah, fair enough.
I thought they poked a little bit too much light at that, especially with the T'Lyn line. T'Lyn actually showed up. Hadn't seen her in a minute.
Yeah, it's been what, 2 episodes or only one?
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, she was in there. Yeah,
She's
but
only
yeah,
up for
she
a
was.
couple minutes. Yeah.
But you know what? I was right about the incompetent dumb bitch because when she did get, you know what? I am this daughter of Zeus. You know what I mean? I have the power,
Oh
and she
no, I
gets a
have too
fucking
much
lightning,
power.
and a
The
fucking
power of
lightning
Zeus
bolt.
compels you.
Lightning bolts are flopping like she needs some Viagra to fucking get that shit going. You know what I mean? Bollocks, absolute fucking bollocks.
I did like all the Zeus bolts flying everywhere, and then of course the one that wound up in Boimler.
You just wish you were that lightning bolt.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Stop.
head first in there, right in there.
Okay.
He's got to grow the rest of the beard out first. This in between doesn't work for me.
You
gotta go.
He's looking
gotta be
better,
all
though.
the
gotta
way.
shave what doesn't. You've got to
style.
shave what doesn't come in right, and
Yeah,
highlight what will come in.
right. You guys understand?
He hasn't learned that yet.
By the way,
Yeah,
Whitney
this is
is
his
calling
first
you out,
time
Mage,
with a
and
beard.
saying that you're blushing.
What? Me?
Mage is apparently blushing. I don't know. We're talking about
The
what
spears.
stuff. I don't know.
No.
Oh, we're talking about Boimler. It was probably me.
Yeah, can
Instant
we,
replay.
Speaking of Boimler, he was our B plot this week. When
Oh.
Nice
yes.
transition.
And
he tries
and
to ingratiate himself with Dr. Ta'ana by joining the book club and getting the nickname Flip. And the first attempt, it just goes so terrible. She's mad at him for even saying the word over and over again, and he attempts a flip and doses himself with a bunch of hypo sprays.
that was great.
That was great. You like that part, Donkey?
I really like this part. It was dumb as hell. Like, it was dumber than the A plot. But like, I just laughed. Like, as I said, I just laughed at it all. Where I'm like, this is classic Boimler, and like, if I was sitting there thinking about it, I would be like, wow, I feel like Boimler should have grown more than this recently. Like, I feel like he should have known better than to try to do this kind of shenanigan.
Like, even
Season
they
1
said
Boimler.
they even called it out. You know, this is the Hawaii thing. Didn't you learn that then? And instead, he's dragging Rutherford
doubling
down
down.
with him.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, this is. But I like, it was so funny him getting dragged around by Ta'ana and just getting scratched up. I'm like, I don't care. This is hilarious. I love the whole thing.
He's had it coming a long time. He
Yeah,
needs to
there
get
was some-
scratched up.
there were some funnier moments in the B plot, but yeah, some of it I like the payoff was good as well. But having to talk to the doctor and you know what, I'm going to talk to her the way she talks to me, and I'm going to just f-bomb every fucking word. And I thought, yeah, that's just great, you know. But
I thought that was,
work
I
well.
popped for that moment too. I was just like, yes, like that's absolutely nuts and hilarious.
I hope they
I
never
thought that
release
was
an
funny.
uncensored version, or that if they do, underneath the bleeps are not curse words, because that.
I think honestly they should release the uncensored stuff like on DV, like when they come out with
on
Blu-rays.
Paramount.
Huh?
Just put on Paramount Plus as uncensored version.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be great. I love
Like
that.
you have to go to
Sometimes,
the options and choose it.
I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes a good bleep makes a moment, but then like sometimes you're just like, I just kind of want to hear, like you get out with Team 4-Star when like, you know, that's they do Dragon Ball parodies. And like just they have such great bleeps in there, and it's just like it's perfectly timed and it just works so well. But then there are times where you just want to hear them say the actual thing, and it's just like, yeah,
like the Count song from Sesame Street.
One, two, three.
Do you
No,
know-
it's you know
think
that
when-
I am called the Count because I really like to count, but they bleeped all the times he said count. So
Oh.
you know, I really call
Do you
it
think
because I really like to be.
Boimler has a case for like reporting the doctor for her tearing the shit out of him, because all he did was swear a little bit and basically talk to her the way she talked to others. You know, she might be his superior, but still, he never deserved to have the fucking skin ripped from his bones. You know,
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I just kind of had to turn my brain off for stuff like that, where I'm just like, this is freaking hilarious.
That's the benefit of being the ship's doctor. She just drugged him again,
And he
fixed everything.
And don't they have like a memory wiping thing that they can do? Like, oh, I can make them forget the past hour.
Computer wiped the memory. I mean, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Sam, you didn't care for the B plot either? Or...
It was better, but I did like the payoff. The payoff was that all this time he's trying to get her to call her Flip, and his nickname ended up being Fucko, which was kind of what
So
I
much
thought he
better.
was being called, which is kind of, I think to myself, he's been called like the F-bomb pretty much all the time by her. So in a way, his nickname would be Fuck or something like that. And yeah, Fucko ended up being his nickname. And
I want to introduce that to my vocabulary.
And I want to see for the rest of the season.
Pops.
I want to see for the rest of the rest of the season that she calls him Fucko. For the rest of the season. Yeah, so yeah, I didn't mind that. That was okay. But his obsession with being cool and bearded and stuff like that. God, he's so obsessed with shit like that.
The best part of the B plot, though, is Tendi and Rutherford making so much fun of him for his
alt pad
because the bevel's off. It's like, it's red.
Yeah.
I was gonna do favorite gag again. So that's your favorite gag?
That's definitely
my favorite gag.
It can be all of ours because it was so funny. Yeah.
I was thinking that too about the fucking bevels. It's red. Yeah, that's how it's different.
Those characters aren't autistic coded at all.
Nope.
We could back up a little bit on the B plot. When Rutherford and Boimler are in their quarters, and Rutherford mentions the red pad or the bezel's off, and they turn around and you see all of the little statues on the wall in their room.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What was it? It was Kirk and Monster Maroon Spock. There was one more.
I don't remember who it was, but I saw I'm like, oh, he's like a streamer. He's got like all the crap behind him.
What are you talking about?
Listen, man, that background there looks freaking nice. I'm jelly. I'm actually jelly.
I'm just using the flags to cover my furnace, so
that's okay. Listen, whatever works, brother. It looks good.
I wish my setup was closer to my collectibles so I could get a good shot like you guys.
I got my Enterprise B back here, finally.
Take a picture of it, Mage. Put it as your background.
Oh, could try that.
Anyway,
but I'm on Tangent Station now. Anything else we want to say about the B plot before we move on to Marks?
I think
one thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Zan.
It wasn't really a mention on the B plot, but I think personally we wouldn't be tangenting so much as we are, and I'm partly to blame to this because I've already given you my opinion. If this episode was a lot better, I think we would be a lot more on point. I think we're tangenting because this episode's shit.
I fully and honestly disagree. I think that there wasn't a ton here. I agree with that. I think this episode was very enjoyable, though. Even though the plot was predictable, I think they did it in a way that was still very enjoyable. So I kind of disagree with you on that, but that's fine. I mean, I like it when we disagree.
There's more than one of us, so we can disagree and have different points of view and enjoy different things. No, the tangenting's me being a terrible host.
We're bad this week. We are very bad this week.
It's all right.
I can agree with you if you want me to. It's up to you. But
one last thought on it. I'm now convinced after this last episode that Boimler is alternate Boimler. He's growing the beard through this whole season now. He's got the pad. He's just becoming his alternate self and is going to get stuck over there somehow, or that his transporter clone is involved somehow.
Oh, there's a resolution we haven't gotten yet, though.
Because they had him at the end 31? Of season before last.
So he's growing the beard that is going to inspire him to grow the beard.
I don't want to doubt you because there's been times where I thought nah, and then next people have been pretty much on the nose on certain things which seemed impossible. So we'll see. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, my favorite line in this episode was, I had to look it up just to make sure I had it right, was you couldn't square the thought of making peace, so you iced a cube. I'm like, what?
Ice Cube?
Yeah. And look at this face. Hold on, I gotta bring this up. Look at this face really quick. I'm gonna pull a Zam here and bring this up. Dude, this might be the new thumbnail. I might make this a thumbnail after we're done here.
Yes. Yes.
The
But
laurels.
put Zam's
Jesus Christ.
Put Zam near the face. putting
Look,
it
I
in the
like-
face.
I like the thumbnail we have now. I saw that in a preview and I said, that's perfect. Like with Quayshawn, like holding out the spheres and the cubes. But I'm like, this one's just freaking hilarious. I love that picture.
No, I've already had Shredder make a picture of me getting fucking
Raped by Heidenreich?
raped by Heidenreich. I don't think I want any more of myself being violated without my consent. This episode had
I
a
didn't
cube
mean
semen
over.
cover. Yeah, it's all right, it's all good. This episode had a cube covered semen wall. This fruit wasn't even on the tree. The fruit wasn't even on the tree
The
anymore.
swimmers are cubes.
I actually thought that, by the way. I actually thought when that stuff on the ceiling was
I'm
that
very
cube,
glad I'm not the only one that thought that.
I thought that was like cube semen. Yeah, so like I said, it was predictable regarding one
This-
person from each faction being in love with each other to end.
This
Yeah.
just got
This got-
weird.
I thought it.
Tune in next time. It'll get weirder.
There's an old friend of ours, and I say old friend, who made a picture of me getting. Remember that clip of Michael Cole getting harassed by Heidenreich backstage in WWE? Well, he put my face
I don't
over-
know if Mage and Donkey would probably remember that.
Well,
I
he put
remember
my
that.
face over Heidenreich's over Michael Cole's face, while gigantic Heidenreich was behind, looking like he was Edward Norton him in American History X in the showers. It looked like that, you know. So yeah. Clearly, they glanced over some of the major plot points. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what they were, but I
It
agree.
was too dense.
Rusty Rivers says, I gotta find that. Yeah, you talking about Heidenreich or Zam in the
Let me
Heidenreich?
see.
Because
Let me see if I can find it for him. I'll show it to him.
I don't know. I'm gonna throw the poll up. Mage, you want to start us off with
Rating?
ratings?
Yeah. I'll go first this week. I enjoyed it, but then that thing happened where I got in here and I heard the other points of view. So I'm going to bump my original 8 down to a 7. I didn't hate it the way Zam did, but I feel like there was too much going on in this episode. It was a little too dense. That this maybe could have been a 2-parter even, to make it not feel so glassed over, as Daniel Vance put it.
I'll go.
I'm gonna go next.
Yeah, I can go next because I'm going to disagree with you. I think that this was like they didn't gloss over anything. I feel like that if this would have been a 2-parter, it would have been way drawn out. So I actually disagree with you. I feel that that it's
There you go.
Yeah, that's an old picture.
There you go. Rusty Rivers. This person,
This
by the
makes
way,
me
who
uncomfortable.
that's me. That's me without the beard. By the way, there's a friend of mine who likes to be all moralistic and stuff like that. Happy to make a joke about me being fucking raped by a humongous man backstage. You know, yeah. There you go.
Zam likes
Don't
it.
say that. I love it. Actually, it's great. All right.
But anyway, so I actually came into this thinking I was going to give it a 7, and I'm going to stick with my 7. I actually agree with Mage and the rating. I just disagree with the fact that I think this episode was just as long as it needed to be. Maybe could have been a little shorter, but I don't think it needed to be 2 parts. I really don't. I feel like they kind of did it well paced and tidy. So
Okay, Lord Donkey.
I'm gonna stick with my original 8. It was a fun episode, but it was a little off the rails at times. The whole thing with Mariner kind of getting put with her, or putting herself with, I'm gonna take this rascal ensign under my wing and show her the ropes and help her turn out good like I did. That was decent, but there were other parts that were just a lot. Um, I will agree that I like the B plot a little more with Boimler and his growth in this episode and unfortunate accident. So that I'm sticking with an 8.
Sticking with an 8, and I can't wait to hear how low this number is going to be.
We got
Take us, bring us home, Zam. Bring us
No,
home.
it's not as bad as you think it's going to be. I'm going to give it a 4, because I thought the episode a couple of weeks ago with the bird people and shit like that. I thought that was far worse, in my opinion. There were a couple of moments here and there which I thought was a bit funny, but overall, I thought this was quite predictable. I wanted to like it, didn't end up liking it. Even the Boimler subplot was all right to a degree. Even the moments I thought was a bit stupid along there. I really want to see. I'm kind of a bit fed up of seeing Boimler playing subplot roles. I think he deserves a lead role in an episode now. Like we're already more than halfway through this season, and Boimler hasn't taken the lead this season. So I think I want to see Boimler play the lead instead of all this bollocks. Yeah, so I want to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 out of 10. It's below average. It wasn't a good episode, and in a way, with 2 bad episodes this season, I'm almost happy that this series is ending, because if things are starting to deteriorate like this for me, then it's good that a show ends on a high note. If that's the case, So that's how I'm starting to think now. If we get a 3rd bad episode this season, Jesus Christ, I'll be really upset.
4 is pretty low for Lower Decks average. Like we're always between like a 7 and like a 9. Like
Yeah,
sometimes we'll get a 10, like a 10. Sometimes they'll get like a 6, but normally we're right in that 7 to 9 range with these.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why
our average is 6.5 on this episode.
I think I gave the episode 2 weeks ago. I think I might have given that a 2 or 3.
I know.
So,
I think I gave it like a 5 or that. I mean,
yeah,
I can't remember. I don't think
I was here that week, but I would have given it like a 7.
See you later,
Live
Rusty.
long and prosper.
Join
Join us next week for more weirdness.
And the world's gone insane. Make sure you join for that. It's more that your cup of tea.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's more his cup of tea. Rusty definitely loves the world's gone insane. Talk politics.
Yeah.
Do we have one of those this week?
Maybe.
Possibly tomorrow. It depends on how Ginger Greek is feeling.
Yeah.
But well, I'll talk to you later about it, mate. Dragon Ball Daima coming soon.
Coming soon to a screen near you here on NerdTube. I think we recently released the Tulsa King season finale review.
Yeah, we did that. We did that, Ginger Greek and I. I'm still doing weekly reviews on the Lioness, which is phenomenal. And I've just started watching Doom Prophecy, which the first episode was not bad. If people have seen the 2 Doom movies, I would recommend it as an alternative. As the new HBO show now, the Penguin is no longer around. And by the way, we as a contingent here at NerdTube, we also did a review of the Penguin, so you can see that on our channel. And I will be also doing a season review of Rivals, which is an excellent dark comedy about rich people doing rich people things in the 80s of England. So I recommend that series as well. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff I'm doing just for you guys. I'm watching all these TV shows just for you motherfuckers.
So make sure you subscribe to NerdTube so you don't miss any of that. This has been our review of Lower Decks Season 5, Episode 6. I want to thank my co-hosts Cheeto, Donkey, and Zam want to thank everybody that showed up in chat.
And
tonight.
Tony.
Oh, and got to thank Tony.
No, Sonny, not Tony.
Sonny.
Yeah, he's a bit beaten up, by the way. He had a couple little fights. He's a little bit scratched up. Trying to show you some of the wounds of his wars.
Yeah. He's a scrapper.
Yeah.
All I've got is my little crocheted whale from Star Trek 4.
The one with the whales.
Oh, is that George or Gracie?
It's George. I don't know which one it is.
The one that
it's their
lets me hold
child
up.
from Prodigy.
Oh,
you remember what that whale was named? I'm gonna be impressed. What was it?
Jillian, I think. For Jillian, the actress who played the oceanographer in the Voyage Home.
Future, yeah.
But her name was Jillian. I can't remember her last name.
Gillian Anderson.
Well, that's what I'll name her.
No, we're gonna name it Jiggling.
What?
Jigglypuff.
All right, man. Mage Man, take us home, man, before we keep going.
Yeah, subscribe, like the video, share it out to your friends because you've been watching NerdTube, the greatest social media channel that you've maybe sort of kind of heard of. Live long and prosper.
Bye-bye.
Bye.